are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Hello, happy day, friends. It is time for some soul wandering. It's an opportunity to hear journey stories, experiences from all kinds of people, all walks of life, who show up to share authentic pieces of themselves with all of us. And I am AJ Rasmussen, your host, and I'm having a really challenging time finishing my words because my smile is so big. I am completely over the moon happy to have you guys here with us this evening, and I'm happy to be back. It's been way too long. For those of you who are new, welcome, welcome. Soul Wanderings is a warm and cozy get-together where we meet so many incredible humans that show up to share their gifts, their journey stories with us. We get to talk about all of the things that are spiritual and metaphysical and inspirational and paranormal, all the good, heartwarming stuff and more. Coming back to hang out with you, I am really delighted to share. We have so many amazing new guests scheduled in the next upcoming months. And I myself, during my little 2-month break, have had a lot of reflection time in my life. Time to really evaluate what's important, as I'm sure a lot of you have done and are doing as well. And this show, Soul Wanderings, is so important to me, and I have missed it. It's a big piece of my life, and I'm not going to lie, I've been kind of funky. I couldn't put my finger on it, but with the anticipation of coming back, I feel like this electric excitement running through my veins, and it's making me light up like the 4th of July, and that makes me really giddy. It's so exciting. And what is even more exciting about tonight is our lovely returning guest, Misty Rose Merck. And we'll talk about her more in a moment. But first, let's chat about how you can participate during the show if you are interested in doing so. So if you are listening live with us, we have the chat room you can play in. And the chat room is hosted on kgraradio.com. So head over there and join in the chat room. We have great conversation behind the scenes. I hang out there while we wander with our guests. It's a wonderful way to interact in conversation behind the scenes. If you have any questions for our guests, you can also, or myself, you can also type them in there. Just when you do, make sure they're in all caps so I can grab them easily. And tonight, another way you can interact with us is by calling in. So get ready to jot that number down. We are taking calls tonight for intuitive readings with Miss Misty Rose Merck. And those of you who have spent time with us in the past, you're probably aware of how fantastical these messages can be. I would imagine this being our first night back and having a night for readings. The call lines will be popping. So much going on in the world and so much going on within each of you. So if you are interested, you might want to hop in as soon as you can. Are you guys ready for that number? It's 85KGRA live. So that's 855-472-5483. And I'll repeat the number again later, but go ahead and visit kgraradio.com under the contact section to grab it at your leisure. And as I mentioned previously, we are hanging out with Misty Rose Merck tonight. And on prior shows with Misty, we have had the opportunity to hear about her personal journey story. We have really enjoyed her visits and her ability to share with all of you. It's Good stuff. Am I right? Misty Rose is an intuitive and energy reader, and she has the ability to connect with your energy and share messages that will assist you in one way or another. She offers clarity, she offers relief, she offers hope, wisdom, all those wonderful, delicious things. And I'm just so happy to have you back, dear.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
I'm so excited.
It was perfect timing. We had this show planned. We planned our show schedule with you for the year. So it's really neat that my first night back after a couple of months of being gone, here you are, already scheduled in place. It's no coincidences, perfectly divine timing.
Yes, definitely. I'm so excited to be here.
Let me have you speak up just a little bit.
I'm very excited to be here.
Let's hear
a
that
great
excitement.
night. It's a great day. Yeah, there's a lot going on and a lot that I feel impressed to talk about. So,
oh, good. Well, we'll have plenty of time. As you know, the show is 2 hours long. And
it's
for
not
those,
enough time.
it's never enough time. By the time we get over, I'm like, hey, Misty, cut. We've got to get off. Cut.
Yeah.
So it does go by rather quickly.
Yeah. Well, when I'm working, I have no sense of time. So I have to have lots of support that way. There's somebody on my shoulder or my new watch that buzzes.
Right. Right. Yeah. All the help you can get because you're in a different place.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to open up the lines tonight right after the first break or close to right after. Depends on how our conversation goes and what you are prompted to share with us. You did mention that there are some things that you felt would be wonderful to share. So I'm going to open that up to you if you're ready to do so. I just feel like it's such a crazy time. Like, I'm not the only one that feels that way. We all know it's a crazy time right now.
Unprecedented. I mean, it's been generations since anything like it. And you're talking about the Great Depression and the stories about the Spanish influenza, things that touched everybody in the whole world in one way or another, even if it was just minor. We haven't had a whole lot of things that have had such a global reach and a global impact. But, with all of the craziness, and my life's pretty crazy, so crazy has a different tone and a different meaning for me. But as an empath, and for those people that don't understand what an empath is, every human being is born with a level of intelligence, and that level of intelligence can be increased and decreased by choice, what we choose to focus on and learn. And you get some people that are just born with a naturally high level of intelligence, and we call these people a genius. Well, just that same way, every human being is born with a level of emotional intelligence. And that emotional intelligence can be increased or decreased by choice, what we choose to focus on and interact, engage with. And then you have people who are born with a naturally high level of emotional intelligence, and we call these people empaths. And they have a gift where sympathy is to see someone in an experience and say, that looks hard. Empathy is to say, oh, I've been there. I know exactly how you feel. Empathic, which is what an empath is to look at the experience and say, I know how you feel. I don't know how I know, but I know how you feel. So I'm an empath. You're an empath. Lots of people are born empaths. But as we've had different shifts in the energy throughout the world and throughout time, people who weren't necessarily born an empath have been getting turned on, so to speak, as in these gifts have been opened up in them in whatever phase of life they were when this energy kind of landed on earth, so to speak, or awakened. We'll call it awakening. And these periods of time where a shift of energies happened in the world, and you've had these different kinds of awakenings in an energy or frequencies or vibrations of the earth and everything that's connected to it, which includes us. People's, at whatever level you're at, if you're an empath, you're boosted. If you're and an empathic gift is at many different levels, just the same way it is with someone that we would define as a genius. Many different levels.
Right.
And then people that we would refer to as maybe being in a normal level, getting boosted or even turned on if they had completely shut down that gift or awareness in themselves. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, as time has progressed, these energy boosts they've been happening more frequently. We went from a time where they were happening every couple of years to every year to monthly. And we're feeling this. You can see people talking about the moon and phases of the moon and what this
Right.
moon represents. But the energy, we don't just like, you'll have a new moon and a full moon in the
Right.
same month. And so we've moved where things are progressing faster. The energy's moving faster. These boosts are happening more. And it's in an emotionally based place. So what are we seeing? But people who went from being completely, or generations of people, societies, ways of being completely emotionally shut down,
Mm-hmm.
now not able to keep that emotion shut down,
Right.
where things are being awakened and turned on, and not knowing how to respond, handle, react to
Mhm.
that shift, to that feeling. So we're seeing a lot of emotionally overwhelmed people. And when we look at children, when they become emotionally overwhelmed, what are some of the behaviors that we see? Temper tantrums. Well, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've seen a 40-year-old man having a full-on temper
Hey,
tantrum.
I admit I still have them
And-
myself.
Yes, I do. And we all do. We become emotionally overstimulated and we don't know what to do, and then we become reactive. And the idea is to become conscious so that in our awareness, we can become understanding. And in that understanding, we can start responding instead of reacting. And a lot of the emotion that's in the environment right now is fear and reacting from fear. And fear, for me, I try to keep everything out of a good bad dynamic, but rather a learning opportunity, a growing experience, awakening awareness. In these contexts, then we remove that element of judgment. Judgment can be paralyzing.
Yeah.
And that contributes to that feeling of not knowing what to do and then reacting. And if I can remove that sense of judgment from my perspective or how I'm viewing things, then I become more able to respond. And for me, that's the key is I don't want to make my choices from fear. So where's that breath? Where's that moment of pause? And one way I've heard fear described is that it's simply excitement without breath. So if we put breath
Wow.
to our fear, we can
Mhm.
move from fear to excitement over an experience
Right.
instead, because everything is about context. You can change so many things from perspective, from how you're perceiving things. And so even this experience, I've gone and been experienced in some shamanic trainings, and in the different studies of energy work, I've come across, I guess for indigenous cultures, we might refer to them as prophecies and things of that nature, where they talk about shifting times in the
Mhm.
future and the ways of honoring the earth and all life coming back to a world that had become so completely disconnected from those things. And if we think about the way the world had been moving previously, that I would highly agree that that's exactly where we were headed. We were becoming, interestingly enough, technology gave us more of an ability to connect, but we were becoming more disconnected the more
Yeah.
technology became
Right.
available.
Right.
And how I don't know what your experience has been, but for me, it feels like the more technology, the faster the world seemed to move. And every year it was getting faster. Every month it was getting faster. To every day it's becoming increasingly fast. And you just see people burned out from trying to keep that pace.
Right.
Well, how do you jump tracks with a runaway train? You got to derail it.
This is a perfect analogy and exactly how I have felt during this situation. My life was so busy, 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 doing all the things. My schedule's completely booked. And being forced to take the pause has been an incredible medicine in a lot of ways. It also has been a very powerful mirror. And boy, have I gone through some things. And it's awesome. It's beautiful. And I'm thankful for it. And coming out of it, which I'm not all the way there yet, but I'm shifting out of it. It's really neat. It's like I took my sunglasses off. Like everything just feels a lot different. It's
Perspective.
yeah, I don't know how to explain it quite yet. Like I said, I'm not quite there as of yet, so I haven't put words into what my experiences has been. But everyone's freaking out, and I get the fear, and I get all the crazy that's going on. But I am so thankful for this opportunity that we've had. It's helped me in my world. I know it's helped a lot of other people, but I also know it's been detrimental to some as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand that as well. And I know for me, it's been an emotional roller coaster. And the awareness that I've gained from this is empaths have every human being senses and feels energy, and we're constantly responding to it unconsciously. But the difference for an empath is we experience it on a deeper level and in bigger ways. And depending on, how we are aware of our gifts can depend on whether we're being affected unconsciously or consciously.
Right.
And I've just done a lot of training. I've been through a lot of classes. I've read a lot of books. I've studied a lot of things so that I can understand me and myself. And from that place, what that gives me an advantage for me is that I am not just simply being affected by the waves of energy, the way a person's standing in the water on one foot. I have 2 feet so that I have some balance and the ability to have a little bit of perspective about how to respond to the waves that are coming. And kind of how I got started on this topic is, as empaths, we can become very emotionally overwhelmed. Every human being, especially in a situation like this, is getting emotionally overwhelmed. But the energy it's not just an energy of the people in our lives. There's an energy in the earth. There's an energy in the world. And when you have such a global common experience, that energy gets amplified. And so one of the things that I'm doing this weekend at your store is I'm teaching an empath self-care class, because in times like this, when there's so much energy, so much emotions, and it's coming at you from all over the place, being aware of yourself and how your gifts show up for you and how your experiences are for you, and then being able from that place of knowledge and awareness and caring for yourself, taking the steps to do what keeps you balanced and healthy, puts you in a position where you can observe experiences and respond instead of impacted by experiences and react. This is true for any human being, but as I'm an empath and I've been having this roller coaster ride, and I see other people who aren't necessarily an empath, or they don't have the same level of gifts that I'm at right now in my life, you're still affected.
Yeah.
And my children have been affected. And, my mother and our neighbors and everybody in the human race is being affected. And this is another key thing that we're being given the opportunity to see, is that separation is an illusion. And you cannot remove the connectedness that we unconsciously have constantly with every other living thing in existence. And so by taking care of us, I was in a mentor group, and one of the things the teacher said is, when you begin to fight for yourself, you begin to fight for the world. And there's a line from a song that I try to live by: let there be peace on earth, let it begin with me. In essence, it's like being on that plane and they tell you to put the mask on you. Taking care of us has become the bottom list thing in this world. It's seen as selfish,
Right.
or self-indulgent, and so many other different kinds of things. However, when you're taking care of you, then other people do not have to expend the resources, energy in doing that, in addition to the jobs that each of us need to accomplish in order to create balance and health and well-being.
Right. Why are we not grasping that concept?
Because we have a lot of black holes that we live from. And it's a thing that if you do this for me, it means this. We have these unconscious games or rules or ways that we're operating from because we don't want to be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take care of you and then you take care of me. But then when you don't know that you're playing that game with me and I'm giving everything to you and then you're not giving that back to me, then
Right. I understand all of that. What I'm wondering is how did we get to this place? I mean, we could go all different directions with this, but how did we get to the place where it was selfish taking care of ourselves? I mean, the importance behind that, and not in a selfish manner, just really nurturing who we are as an individual and taking care of ourselves. When did that become a selfish act?
unfortunately, with my little crystal ball, I don't
can't tell
have
me
the
that.
pinpoint of the exact moment in time. But
Well,
It-
I wasn't looking for that, but
Yeah,
it's like
no.
a conversation.
Yeah.
How did we
It's
get here?
kind
It's
of
really disheartening.
look at how many. It's a fundamental truth. I believe self-care is a fundamental truth. How many fundamental truths can you sit and pick out and find in the world that have been twisted or off track in some way?
True.
And
True.
in essence, that's all it is.
Right.
And with every experience, a child is born not knowing and understanding things.
Mm-hmm.
And from the experiences, we're trying to make sense. We tell ourselves stories to
Mhm.
explain what we don't understand. But we don't always create a truthful story.
Right.
The stories we create are our truth because we're the storyteller. We're the author. They are our truth. It doesn't necessarily mean they are the truth.
Correct. Yeah.
And then these twisted truths we live from and we share with others. And we are
and there
very,
we go down
we're
the
very
rabbit hole.
communal.
Yes.
We love community, even though
Mhm.
we can be very introverted at times as well. But we never quite survive without our community,
Mhm.
our family unit. And family isn't just blood.
Right.
And
It's our
so,
tribe.
yes. And so we share those things. We pass them to each other. We pass them down. And then someone else adds to it and so forth and so forth. And
Mhm.
it's like that game where people stand in a line and one person
The
whispers
telephone
something,
game.
the telephone,
Right.
that by the time they get to the end, how accurate is the information?
Correct. I mean, really, how accurate can it be at that point? Before we go to break, because I do want to open the phone lines as soon as we can be, because why not? I mean, they can be open and we can hang out until people call. What will you be doing tonight? You've been on the show in the past, and we say you're offering intuitive readings, but what does that look like to someone who's interested in calling to receive an intuitive reading? What would they be calling for?
Anything that is important to them. So when I work with people, my goal is to put myself on a shelf and just become a conduit for what is going to serve you for your highest good at this time. And whatever is important to you, that's always what's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So when I work with people, it could be about your business. It could be personal relationship. It could be about yourself, your health, your well-being. I don't put a restriction on your topic.
Okay.
It's your heart matter.
So
What's
when
important to you.
when someone calls in, they can ask a question, a specific question, or just ask for a general energy reading where you just
So-
pick up on anything that you're getting through them.
So I start sessions with what is your topic? What is it, the thing you would like to focus on?
Mhm.
Or would you like me to see what I get?
Awesome.
It goes either way, but I find a lot of people are afraid to pick a topic because they feel like they're going to restrict them getting something.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is important to you, that is always what comes up.
Yeah. So, we're on radio. No one's going to know or see you unless they do, but That's the beautiful thing about your readings is you're always delivering these beautiful, intentional messages, and nobody that I've ever seen has walked away. They've never been like, "That what was that? That made no sense." And if it is a little confusing, they soon realize how accurate it is within days or weeks because that energy is around them. They just might not have been aware of it yet. So we're going to take a quick break, you guys. And when we come back, make sure you jot down this number, 85KGRA Live. That's 855-472-5483. We'll be taking calls throughout the remainder of the show for you to call in and get an intuitive reading. You're listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRARadio.com, and we will be right back.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day. Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Mainstream media's most wanted. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to Soul Wanderings here on KGRARadio.com. I am AJ, your host, and we are hanging out with Misty Rose Merck this evening. She's become a regular guest here on the show. She has the ability to share with us these beautiful messages by reading our energy and the world, the collective energy as well, which we were doing just before the break. We have officially opened up the phone lines, Bill is our producer tonight, and he'll be taking your calls and sending them my way so I can connect you to Misty. So if you have any questions or just curious and want a general read, tonight's the night to do it. 85KGRA Live, 855-472-5483. In the meantime, while we're waiting for your calls, we are going to be hanging out here, and Misty's going to be sharing with us, and then we'll interrupt her as you guys give us a call. We'll interrupt you, Misty, because we get to do that all of the time because you just go on and on and on and on and on with your beautiful messages. It's good stuff. It's really neat.
Thank you.
So it's, I'm like, before we even get started, before you start sharing, we already have a call. So let's just jump on that because this little lady has been waiting to call in. And we'll do that now. Hello, Amanda.
Hi. Welcome back, AJ. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy. And it's neat that you're calling in. I saw you were in the chat room and you said you were going to call in. I got giddy because these readings are really special.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you for doing this. And thank you, Misty, for taking time out to do this for all of us. That's very gracious of you. Not a lot of people are willing to provide that kind of gracious reading to all of us. So I really appreciate this. I'm very excited.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Misty, this is Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
So is there something that you wanted to focus on specifically, or do you want me to just see what I get?
Just see what you get.
Okay. So I feel strong, feminine, a female energy around you, but it feels like there's a lot of angels. You're really cute. You're really great at being very supportive of other people, but you're really hard on you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I try to be supportive anyway.
Well, it's more like it's not that you don't see people's flaws, but you always steer to look beyond those things and then encourage the positive things that you see in them. Does that make sense?
I try to. I hope so. Thank you.
And the other thing, you have this very quiet strength about you, which I think for you, we humans tend to be our biggest blind spot. So it's really hard for us to see our strengths, but we're really quick to notice our weaknesses. And you have this really quiet, very quiet, graceful demeanor about you. Do you understand that?
No, but it sounds nice.
Okay. Well, you're not a very overtly pushy person. You have a very quiet, strong heart and demeanor. And I don't know if you're able to understand this, but it feels like when you're having hard experiences, I feel like you feel very capable, but you don't feel necessarily strong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can't hear her very well.
She said yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Well, and I don't know what it is that you're needing to understand, but I feel like there's something about the strength that exists within you and what you're capable of doing that you're not aware of, that you're very blind to. And if you could understand the level of strength, like the strength of your will, of how deep it is, because I feel like there's challenges that feel like it's taking you to your knees. Does this make sense?
I have actually felt very defeated lately, yeah.
Okay. What feels like you're going to your knees isn't for you to see brokenness, but for you to finally, for you to finally see your strength and own it, because it's like you've gotten through challenges in life, but before you validated who you are as a person getting through those experiences, you were off going to help other people. Does that make sense?
Possibly.
Okay, so this is kind of what I'm seeing, okay? So what I see is it's like you're climbing a mountain, and once you get to your mountain, you don't take that moment to go, wow, look at me and what I have done. Instead, you run down that mountain to go find that person to push up a mountain, as in get them there. Does that make sense?
I try. I hope. I hope I can help lift people.
And that's what I feel like you do. I feel like you're great at helping lift other people, but what you've been missing is the element of lifting you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. So
I can see that.
what I feel is there are challenging experiences have kind of been happening repetitively. And what it has been geared around is trying to get a perspective shift in you, and you just haven't gone there. Does this make sense?
Shift my own perception of myself?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I can work on that.
As in, I feel that there has been I feel like as a kid, you were carefree and ready for adventure, willing, and but very emotionally sensitive because you are empathic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were these experiences that caused you to feel too sensitive, too weak. And then
I
from
agree with
there,
that, yeah.
Say that one more time.
I agree with that.
Okay. And then from there, you were hard on you, trying to toughen you up. Does that?
I do that all the time.
That?
Yeah. I do that all the time. Yeah.
And the thing is you were never weak. And so trying to toughen you up, that's what's been breaking you down. So
okay, so how do I get over that then? How do I move past that?
I have a really harsh inner self-critic, as you could think of it that way. And realizing, my husband said to me one time that I was very prideful, and I was flabbergasted because I'm like, I'm not narcissistic. And he says, no, you're not prideful, and look how amazing I am. You're prideful, and look at everything that's wrong with me. And one day, after struggling to try and shift this for myself, I came to a place of, that's it, I've had it in this house. And when I say house, I'm talking about my body. Mm-hmm. Only love is spoken here. And it doesn't mean that negativity doesn't happen inside of myself. But what happens is when I see that negativity, I do not return negativity. Instead, I go, I see you're struggling with something, and I love you. Yes, this is happening, and I love you. I don't like that, and I love you. And I'm turning my internal dialogue, whatever happens, even if all of it was a negative rant that just was shredding me apart, I follow it up with, and I love you. I see you're scared, and I love you. I see you're triggered, and I love you. And basically, it's reaching a point of having had enough self-beat up that I have absolutely refused to do it one more time. Knowing that none of the self-beat up I've ever done created the change I was ever looking for. All it did was put me in that pit deeper and deeper and deeper, knowing that there was no way out of there because all I was doing was continuing to dig a hole. So it was never going to give me that mountain to get out of it. It was only going to take me farther and farther down. And so by using that skill of whatever happens, following up with, and I love you, because love is the only way I was going to create the change I wanted. Because I had loads, years of experience and evidence that self-beat up doesn't work. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
And so what I'm inviting you to do is, Amanda, what I feel is you're an incredibly strong person who's completely blind to the fact of just how strong you are. You're a deeply loving person who has a just overwhelming desire to connect. And yet, even when you do connect, you feel like you didn't connect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's like relationships do not feel satisfying. And everything lacks a luster. You know, the colors aren't as bright. The sounds aren't as great. The sun isn't as warm. And it's because you're buried under so many layers of self beat up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You're amazing. What I feel in your heart, what I feel in your soul is a burning desire to shine, to connect, to live fully. And you have it in you to do it. I kind of feel in you what I have felt myself is an optimist living inside of a pessimistic prison that I can never quite get out of. And
that's exactly how I feel. That's an accurate way, yeah.
You have and the reason why you're dealing with so much depression is because you're constantly looking to the past, trying to fix things so that you don't relive it in your future. But what that's doing is it's keeping you stuck in the past and stuck in the middle of the pain, so that instead of going through as if you were crossing a river, instead of going through the pain and getting to the other side, it's like constantly making a U-turn, keeping yourself stuck in that river. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have it, I can't even begin to put into words quite well enough. But I'm going to do the best that I can. You have an indomitable spirit because you're still here after everything that you've been through. After all of the struggles that you've seen and experienced and felt and the things that have taken you to your knees, you still choose you still choose to show up, and you still choose to try and see the best in somebody and be supportive and uplifting. Now, the only reason why you feel so critical is because you're so sensitive. Think of the yin and yang symbol, positive and negative. When our gifts pass through positivity, and for you, this gift is sensitivity. When it passes through faith, love, and trust, it shows up as sensitivity. When it passes through pain, fear, and doubt, it shows up as criticism. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what you're just seeing when you become overly critical, you're just seeing a different expression of your superpower. I mean, let's face it. I'm sorry. I can't even imagine what it was like for Superman's parents when they were dealing with him learning how to deal with laser vision. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an amazing ability that you have to be so sensitive. But you just had a tool that you didn't know you had, and you were never taught how to use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, we can swing hammers and nail and put in some nails. I don't know how to
calm it down.
Say that one more time.
It feels like I'm too sensitive at times, and I don't know how to tune it down.
And that's where that self-care and building that self-love, it's changing the relationship with yourself. Because when a tree is healthy, then parasites and infections cannot take hold. But when a tree becomes unhealthy, that's when that stuff can take hold and take root. So all you're seeing, everything that's going on isn't a symptom or a sign that there's something wrong with you. It's just that there's a symptom that there's an imbalance in you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you can start moving from viewing things of right or wrong, good and bad, to this is information. What is this information telling me? And then what do I want to do about it? Now we move you from judgment, and judgment where it becomes paralyzing, you become stuck. We get into avoidance and resistance, and we procrastinate. If we put you into curiosity, asking questions, now you're open and receptive. Now you can start getting answers and becoming responsive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is this
And
helpful?
those are the two ways I deal as well. Either I become reclusive and shut off, or, ask a lot of questions and open up.
All that is when you get shut down, is you were triggered enough that you feel a certain level of pain, fear, and doubt. That's all it is. And when you can look at your shutdown from that perspective, you can then be in a place of positivity, of witness and awareness. For me, knowledge is power, because the more you know, the more choices you have, the freer you become. And so, again, another one of your gifts is you have this knowing, and you have this ability. Like, people can tell you things, and you don't have to, like, if you were in class, you're being shown some stuff, you wouldn't have to do a lot of research because you just know it. Does that make sense?
I try some things.
Well, again, going into that yin and yang, when that energy of knowing and discernment passes through faith, love, and trust, that's how it shows up. When that energy passes through pain, fear, and doubt, it becomes judgment. So just look at, oh, I'm being judgy. That's interesting. I wonder what triggered it. Because all that is that energy being redirected through negativity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when you can start viewing yourself, your experiences, and what you're thinking and feeling through that's interesting, I wonder what triggered that. Or look at this information, what do I want to do with it? That's going to shift a lot of things for you. Because another thing that you have is perfectionism, and that's just a survival mechanism to avoiding pain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so that's another thing that paralyzes you. So it's just going, oh, I wonder what triggered perfectionism. I wonder what triggered judging. I wonder what triggered criticism. And when you can just start looking at these things from a unbiased perspective, then you can start removing a lot of that negative self-dialogue. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It sounds hard to do. It's going to be a timely project, but...
See, hard is in our heads and our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because taking a step from the chair to the door, it's just a series of steps, and it's going to vary per person because depending on skill set and level of ability. But the emotional mental component that's determining easy or hard, again, that goes to our perspectives and beliefs. And it will feel hard because it's going to be new. But everything that you have right now that's a habit, start it by being new and you just doing it over and over so you have muscle memory. It can be the same way. It can just start as new and you just do it enough consistent time so that it becomes muscle memory. And that's how you get your new habit.
Yeah, it's rebuilding a muscle.
Yes. Well, with your brain, every time you are introduced to something new, your brain creates a neural pathway. And when you stop doing something you used to do, you stop long enough, that neural pathway shrinks. Mm-hmm. So that's how we create new roads and release old roads, is you don't have to be perfect at it. It's consistent effort. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that helpful?
Thank you very much. Yes, it was. Okay. I think you were more kind than I might want to agree with, but it is something I try. I try to be good to others. Unfortunately, I'm very critical on myself, and I agree that I need to change that to just be a better, more whole person. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much for taking the
a tool
time.
that would help. Whatever it is you do, go, wow, I did that.
Yes.
However little,
Yes.
however big, it doesn't matter if it's for yourself or somebody else. Wow, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And leave it at that.
And I love myself.
And I love myself.
And I love myself. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Have a
for
great
calling
evening,
in,
ladies.
Amanda.
Thank you. Bye, AJ.
Bye, sweetheart. The wonderful thing about your messages, Misty, is although you're sharing with Amanda or whoever else it may be, I always feel the message resonates with anyone who's hearing it at that time. Wouldn't you agree with that? I may have even have said it before. The messages I'm sitting here as you're sharing with Amanda, shaking my head like, yes, I could do that. Yes, that's something that I'd like to work on. Yes, that feels right. And I feel like any one time that you hear a message that there is some truth to it for everybody.
I do group readings at your shop,
Right,
and one of the things that I tell people is it's not an accident who shows up when. And there's these themes. There's a theme for that whole room where I've said different things, but there's a theme to each one that is consistently flowing from one person to the next. And I do feel that the things that I share can apply to anybody. And then there's the specific details. I mean, let's face it, the unique makeup that makes up each of us contributes of a little bit of something that's in everybody else.
Right.
And
Very
so we all
true.
have these things. It's just at what level do we have it? At what level of mastery are we at, of understanding? And that varies. And that's what makes our unique makeup to make the individual. But, what's in your DNA? Those elements are in my DNA.
Right. It's so beautiful. We all are connected, and it shows in so many ways. One of the things that you brought up with Amanda, and I remember you sharing this with someone else who had a similar reading, is the I love you part. Like loving yourself where you're at, meeting yourself there no matter what that looks like, and loving yourself through it anyways. It's so easy to say, more challenging to do. But since you shared that, I remember I was practicing that for a while, and I obviously lost touch with that because as you shared it, I had a reminder of that practice that I had put to the side that would be a wonderful addition to my day if I were to practice it again.
Like if I were to get, and this is something, if I could give anybody just one thing, it's self-love.
Right.
And then how do we do that? And one of the techniques is, like I said, whatever, because I do a lot of thinking. I don't know about you, but
No,
I have
never.
like a
Not
lot of
too
thoughts.
much.
And so, and then that negative stuff, that I'm like totally in disagreement with, what we resist persists. We lock energy with things. And so it's like that song you're trying to stop thinking about that just won't go away. And the more we resist it, the more persistent it becomes. And so what happens if I just stop resisting and go, I love you anyway? I don't have to be in agreement because we have these unspoken rules in the world. And we have one that says love equals agreement. What happens when we disagree? We withhold love, we withdraw, we get cold, we create distance, we break relationships, we fight, we have wars. So that is a false equation. I can love and disagree simultaneously, which means I don't have to have an argument about all this stuff going on inside of me that I disagree with.
Right.
I can love me while saying I disagree with that. And so there's that tool. Another one, especially if you're somebody who struggles with strong anxiety, depression, and even, real problematic lack of self-love. One of the things that I teach people is you take your dominant hand and you put it over your heart. So I'm right-handed. I put my right heart. And then you take your other hand and you pat the back of your dominant hand the way you would an infant. And it's okay. when you're scared, when you're overwhelmed, when you're panicked, when you're paralyzed and you can't function, can't move, can't think, can't nothing, you just breathe. You take deep, deep breaths. Because one, fight or flight, you're shallow breathing. So deep breaths, that takes you out of fight or flight. The other thing is you, in Hebrew, breath and spirit is the same word. And to breathe is to bring you into the present moment. So you're going to take deep breaths. And then you just pat that hand the way you would an infant, as though soothing. It's okay, and I love you. Whatever's happening, whatever the thought is, whatever the emotions are, whatever the experience, it's okay, and I love you. Another tool is like Louise Hay. She does mirror work where you look into your own eyes and you say, I love you to yourself 3 times. I do that. I also use the Ho'oponopono, and I do that for myself. And it makes a world of difference.
A world of difference. We can get into that more when we return from our break, because we get to have one right now. So stay close, you guys. And when we return, we'll hear more about those practices that will help you get closer to yourself and improve on the self-love part. We'll be right back.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy and gross. Bugs, I hate bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. I know. I use Orange Guard. Plus, all of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It promotes a healthier planet, and here's a bonus. Orange Guard cleans where it's sprayed. Plus, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard.
You can get Orange Guard at Ace Hardware. And listen, folks, Orange Guard is tougher than bugs, and it's safe to use. Go to orangeguard.com. That's orangeguard.com.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, you are listening to Soul Wanderings on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Salt Lake City, Utah, Hudson Valley, New York. Soul Wanderings can be found on all of the listening platforms like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, and so on. Also, You can find the latest show archives on the official KGRA radio on YouTube, as well as soulwanderings.com. If you're enjoying the show, I encourage you to share with your pals. Please, please. The more, the merrier. We would love to have more of you join us each week because magic is happening here on Soul Wanderings, as you know, especially this evening with our lovely guest, Misty Rose Merck, who is offering intuitive and energy readings for our listeners. Misty, it's always wonderful to have you here. First, thank you so much for spending your time and your abilities and gifts with us this evening once again.
I feel like I should be paying you. Thank you, AG.
No,
Thank you,
I
thank
feel
you,
like I
thank
should
you.
be paying you. I'm sure everyone feels that
I feel
when
like
they
I need to
receive.
bring a bribe and say, please, may I have some more?
Well, I feel very, very blessed to not only have you here on the show, but in my life, you've become a very dear friend to me. And even before the show, everyone, Misty offered me some energy work. Magic. It was magic. I don't know how else to explain it when someone is as heart-centered as Misty is and is and has the ability to work on you energetically. It really is an incredible experience. Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome. I just, it's funny. I feel like a charlatan because everybody says, look, and you're doing this and this and that. And the reality for me is I'm just really good at listening and doing what I'm told. I'm following instructions, people. There's no magic behind the curtain. I love what I love and I believe what I believe. And I just feel so that I have to, and I just can't not live this way.
Right.
And I've just come to a place where I don't want to live any other way. And so, I invested a lot in living in those other ways that I was told I was supposed to live. And I was miserable to the point where, as an empath, one of the things that I've suffered from is depression and suicidal thoughts. And at one point, it had become soul crushing to where if I wasn't such a big chicken, I may not be here because I literally was too afraid of the pain and I wanted out. I that's where I was. I was in so much mental, emotional, and physical pain. I literally was struggling with walking because the pain was so bad, and there was no relief, and I had reached a point of, I'm a hopiest, get caught up on hopium and hope. And you just give me a teeny little grain of sand of hopium and I can run for miles. And then I'll run out and go, what do I do? What do I do? And somebody gives me another granule and then I'm off and running again. But it felt like I'd reached a point where there was no hope, no nothing. And finally, even though I'd never wanted to die, all of the pain and all of that, I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm done. You want me out of here? I'm out of here. And again, because I could not find a pain-free way in my brief thinkings, because I don't have enough imagination to come up with anything.
I feel like a lot of us can relate to that at one point in our lives or another where we just want to do that checkout. But we're also wanting to have a different way to live.
Nobody who's ever committed suicide did it because they wanted to die. I don't believe in my heart. I believe it's happened because there's something that was just too much they didn't know how to deal with, and they just wanted out of that.
Right.
And the only way they saw out was by dying. The suicidal thoughts for me, they started when I was a tween, and I am officially grandmother now, which I call myself a Mimi because I don't feel like a grandmother.
You're way too young.
But, that's how long, because they have never actually gone away. That's how long I've lived with this. And I've just, reached a point where I don't want to live that way anymore. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to live in a way that I love myself and I have joy. What can I do to create that?
Right. It's a lot more in flow. I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's more in line with our true selves.
The water goes over the rocks one way or another, and it's still got to go over that rock. And it will always have to go over the rock. But, is it going to go by crashing into it or by flowing over it? So I'm choosing to be in flow.
I love that. We actually have another caller. I don't know why I'm surprised. Everyone wants to call in for Misty. Hello, Johnny from Ogden. Thank you for calling in. You're on air.
Hi.
Hi. Do you have a question for Misty, or would you just like a general read?
Just a general read.
Awesome. Misty,
Hi.
this is Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. How are you
Hi.
today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So, you're a little guarded, and so that just makes it a little harder for me to define what it is that I get. But
maybe take a deep breath, Johnny. Take a deep breath in through your nose and release it through your mouth. Kind of loosen your body a little bit. It allows Misty to read your energy.
So it feels like there's been some, like what I see is you're standing in front of a fork in the road. So I feel like some big things have come up for you that's calling you to make some decisions. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I feel like you're hesitating. I think in your head, you feel like you don't know which way to go, but I think you do. But like in your heart, you really do know what choice to make. But in your head, what the confusion is it means making some tough choices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
And it involves other people's feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like you're a very emotionally sensitive gentleman, and you care about how you affect other people. And so there are times when you know a decision to make, but you hesitate because of the impact it'll have on somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I feel like you know the answer and the decision to make that would serve you best, even though it might cause a little bit of pain to the other person. It's avoiding pain isn't the goal of our lives and experiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's trust yourself. You know which direction to go, and I feel that you've been given some guided inspiration and ideas so that you do know what to do. Trust the other person that they can be in charge of their experience. You don't have to manage it for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is this helpful?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. The other thing is there feels like you've taken on air of severity, and you're kind of sucking out the joy in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like there are things that you'd love to be doing that would involve being playful or having fun with people and for yourself. But even though in your head you keep thinking, I should do that, you're not actually planning and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening is that when we play and engage in relationships in fun ways, even if we're just doing things for ourselves that are heart filling, like if you're an artist and you create art, even if it's not something that you sell or share with other people, it fills us up. That gives us energy to then go and do the work of life. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels like you've been fatigued and drained and feeling almost a lack of motivation for doing certain things. Does this make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And what's causing that is kind of like that phrase, too much work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy.
Mhm.
And so it's incorporating. If there was this description where they said if you took goodness gracious, trying to think about this real world stuff. Okay, so there was this story about a teacher walking into a classroom. He had a container and he put golf balls and pebbles and sand and water, and then he said try to put those same things, the same amount of them, in the opposite way. And if you put the water and the sand first, you never get the golf balls in. So in essence, when you're planning out your life, schedule the priorities first and then fill in with the fillers. So it's not, yes, work and other things are priority, but we tend to not look at fun and connection in relationships as a priority when they are, because they give us the energy to go and do the other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it feels like, in essence, kind of where you're out of balance is not incorporating the love connection, the relationship connection, the fun, playful things that way, whether that's playing with a child, if that's doing something that you love to do for yourself, if that's hanging out with friends or going and meeting up with family. It's doing those things that fill you up in your heart, because especially with you being emotionally sensitive, the more you don't give yourself positive emotional things, the more drained you become. And it feels like it's even affecting your sleep, because it's like sleep's not restful. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so it's just getting in and sitting down for a moment and going, what is it that I want to do, need to do, have to do, that kind of stuff, and just incorporate some of the wants so that you're filling your heart and your soul to go and do the other things that you may very well want to work, but when you're feeling too tired for it, then it stops being fulfilling work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then to help you with self-trust, so that as you make your choices, recognize you have no control over how other people choose to perceive you and your choices. And it's not your job to control their response. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because one of the things we do as human beings is we walk around and it's like we're walking with a Mad Libs. And when we think about doing something that it's like we fast forward into the future, see how we think the other person will respond, rewind back to the present moment. If we didn't like their response, then we don't do the thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the reality is that whole scenario is happening in our heads. There's no guarantee that somebody will respond the way we assume. My mother taught me never to assume, because we only make an ass of you and me.
Mm-hmm.
But the essence is, even if they were to respond, when we don't do, this is how I try to live. If I'm not saying and doing what I know to be right and true in my heart, it is only in an attempt to control or influence someone or something outside of myself for my own desired outcome. That's not love, that's control and manipulation. So in order to really love people and be loving towards people, I have to give them a choice. And the only way that, in my opinion, I can really give a person a choice is by being my 100% authentic self.
Yeah.
Even if it means the other person feels uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you are more than capable, like that your inner strength, you're able to bear out a little discomfort of someone else's response to your choice. But what you're not understanding is that when you are true to yourself, you're giving people choices. When we're not true to ourselves, we're being controlling. And what I feel in you is you do not like feeling controlled. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then don't become controlling.
Right.
Be yourself, honor your truth, and follow your path. It doesn't mean that we're disrespectful or, just flat out rude in how we can make our choices in gentle ways is what I'm saying. We can make choices in a gentle, smooth, flowing way that isn't about attacking somebody to make our choice or disregarding them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think when you honor your truth while being mindful of other people, that's going to help bring you to peace and trusting yourself to make your choices. Because it feels like you kind of walk away from doing certain things that might rock the boat of another person, so to speak. But then you're left regretting that you didn't follow your heart. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's trusting that everybody is a good captain of their own boat. We don't have to try and captain their ship on top of ours. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Is this helpful?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for calling in, Johnny.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful night.
Okay, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Bye. So your readings are so in depth and it's a lot of information. If you are a caller who has called in, I highly recommend you listen to the replay when you can actually listen and soak in the information. Just because when you're calling in, from experience, I know it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And whether you agree or maybe you disagree, there's usually a reason. And when you listen to it at a later date, it becomes very clear why the message was given to you.
When I work with people, I work mostly over the phone. I find a lot of people just love the convenience. But I work with people in person over the phone, and I even do some Zoom sessions. What I do is I record the session so that, one, people don't feel they have to sit and take notes. That way they're able to be more present.
Right.
And
right.
two, it's that very thing that you're saying is it can be a lot of information because when you're with people, a person is a lot of information. Who they are is a lot of years of
Right.
content that has brought them where they are when they stand in front of me. And so, and depending on what they're open to, that also dictates how much content comes
Right.
through and
Right.
how much time we spend on certain content.
Mhm.
And when they're not able to connect with something, that can also linger on that increase the amount of time spent on that. But I record the sessions so that they get a copy of it that they can reference. And I know some people, they've asked me not to even send it to them because they never listen to it. And then other people, if they've lost it, I try to keep all of my recordings for my records.
Mhm.
And that way, if somebody loses it, I can send it to them at a later date. And I've had people reach out for me because they want it.
Right. Right. So towards the end of the show, we'll make sure we give you guys the information to get in touch with Misty if for some reason you're hesitant or would prefer a longer reading, which is my preference, definitely. We're going to move on to our next caller. Hello, Libertas from Mass. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, AJ, and how are you?
It's great. Great. It's a beautiful night. Thank you for calling in. Do you have a question for Misty tonight, or would you like a general read?
Well, first I'm going to give Misty a cyber hug. Is that okay?
Yes.
She loves hugs.
Hey, Misty, I've
Yes.
been I've been financially impacted by the virus, but I have an idea for a business, and I've actually been contemplating it for a while. Will it impact you if I tell you what it is? And I don't care if everybody hears it.
I don't need the details. I just need to know what what you would like to focus on, but I don't need the details of that.
Okay. Well, since you don't want to know, will it be a good idea or not?
So one, just kind of as for general public is, when I get a very specific question, I don't always have an answer. What I tell people is I'm not an 8-ball. If you shake me, I'll just get sick. So what I can do is tell you what I feel in regards to your energy about what you're asking. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So one, can I just say I'm sorry to hear that, because I know that there are a lot of other people out there who are in the middle of dealing with a very similar experience that you're having. And I'm sorry to hear that. So am I correct that I did speak to you the last time I was on?
You did one time, yes. I don't know how many times you've been on.
So I don't remember what I share with people. What I ask is because I don't remember if I share something. Just know that it's just still relevant in some way, okay?
Okay.
So what I feel is your energy is a little unclear in regards to what it is that you want to create. And I can tell you right now that's going to be a big stumbling block for you. So one thing I would definitely invite you to do is create more clarity around what it is that you're focusing on creating. And then also, I feel like there's a lot of thought into what you're creating, but I don't feel as much emotional energy behind what you're creating. And when we create anything, think of driving a car. Your mind is like the steering wheel. Your heart is like the fuel tank. You need both to get anywhere. So your emotional connection to what you create is going to dictate how quickly you create it and on what scale. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you a couple things when you're done.
Okay. So what I feel to say is get a little more emotionally connected to what your project is. And there's some places where you have some unanswered questions, as in the picture of what you're creating isn't completely in focus. It's not completely clear. So I would find those places where things are slightly unclear, or there's some unanswered questions in the project, and then find where there's emotional disconnect to what you're creating, and then decide if, in essence, what I feel to say is if you don't have emotional connection, I would have you reevaluate those parts of the project to see if they're actually relevant, because I feel like there's a couple of things that are hangers-ons, as in you had an idea, but it's not actually they're not really a part of that whole picture. It's a possibility, but it's not actually connecting. Like it was an idea that didn't take hold all the way, but you're still kind of holding on to it as far as the whole project goes. And it feels like those things are energy drains. And so it's refine it. Remove the things that are unnecessary or not going to be relevant at this time. It's not that it won't apply later. So those are things I'd say put on a back burner as in regards to your project overall. And then make sure you're really emotionally connected to what you're creating. And that's going to be the bigger determining factor of the success level. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can I give you some feedback now?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You were right about part of it and wrong about one part. You were right about, you didn't use the term hesitancy, but what I want to do for people is technically illegal. And so you don't think it's anything nefarious, I'm going to tell you what it is now. And I don't care if everyone does it, because if everyone does it, the world will be a better place. I want to help people source prescription drugs from other companies. And that's where you were probably right, because technically it's illegal. Where you're wrong is on the emotional side. 2 days ago, I read a letter a woman wrote to a newspaper, and she was just espousing on the fact that she has a friend that has to choose between affording heart medication or her insulin. And that's the side you're wrong, because this is the United States. We say we're the greatest country in the world, and we have people that have to make choices on medication or eating or paying rent, and it's not right. So that's where you're wrong, because emotionally I'm very connected with doing it. The other part of it being illegal is the fact that, I'll be fighting.
It's not your overall project that you're not emotionally connected to. There's parts of the project. So there's aspects of it is what I mean. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, certainly. I mean, I'll be fighting corporate America and the pharmaceutical industry to do it, to help people obtain prescription drugs for less, because nothing will ever be done in this country to help them because of a big pharma money. But I know I can help them because I've done it.
It's interesting that what you're sharing is I recently was watching a Facebook post of a family, a couple, a husband and wife who were traveling to Mexico to buy prescriptions for a family's son who had a health ailment. And by the sheer cost of the medicine, like you're describing, they were unable to buy the medicine that they needed for their child. So this couple, and finding out that what they did is they used their air miles and things like that to do this act of service to bring medicine to a family in need. So I understand the topic that you're speaking on. And this is where I will just leave it as food for thought for you, because my perception of the energy is an interpretation. So I don't try to worry about being right or wrong, because I'm a human being. I can't be perfect. But I do feel that and it might be a small part, that there's an aspect of what it is you're formulating that feels a little emotionally disconnected, that you're not in. And it doesn't necessarily mean a lack of caring on your part. It just is. It may be that you don't really care for that aspect. Does this make sense?
I suppose that's certainly a consideration when you're assisting to someone to do something that's technically illegal.
Okay. Well, I hope that helped. Thank you.
Thank you for
calling. I may go for it, Misty. Thanks for taking my call.
Have a great night.
Take care.
It's neat when you do readings. The interpretation, like with any reader, I've noticed they all have a way of delivering the message.
Uh-huh.
And although it may not resonate with the receiver, the way that you're seeing it, smelling it, tasting it, feeling it, all of those things that you do, may be a different way that they smell and taste it and feel it. And
yeah,
in that
what
way.
I use to describe that with people is how many words in just the English language
Mm-hmm.
can you use to say something's beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
innumerable. So what word I would use and the word you would use, we're talking about the same thing. We're trying to describe it the same way, but we're using our word, and that can vary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I shy away from being right or wrong. I'm an interpreter of what I perceive. So if I share something that doesn't seem to fit, Don't make it. Just receive what feels right and true. And that's one of the things that I share at the beginning of all of my sessions for that very reason. And that's why I also ask the questions. Does that make sense? Do you understand this? Because if I'm not getting it in a way that they can get it, then the information gets shifted and shown to me in different ways so that I can say it in a way they can connect to.
Correct. Perfect. Thank you for explaining that. We have another call. Hello, Maria. Thank you for holding. You're on air with myself and Misty. What is your question tonight?
I've had several good things to happen here lately, and I'm hoping the trend continues because it seems like the energy has finally gotten better lately, and I'm hoping it's true and it's not a false hope.
Have I spoken with you before, Maria?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I just asked because your energy felt familiar, and I just, again, want to say if I share something that came up before, know that it's just relevant in some way still, okay?
Okay.
So one, I just want to say I love how cheerful and effervescent you feel right now. I feel very lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something that feels shifted in you is where you feel very lighthearted. I felt like previously you felt very downhearted, downtrodden, and burdened. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And so I also feel like the energy in your environment has changed. Would that be accurate? Like there's been some things that you've done so that you feel more supported in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So one, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it feels very evident that what you're doing is working for you. There are some places where I would invite you to, it feels like make a few tweaks because I feel like there's something that you've been wanting to address that feels repetitive, and it feels like you've made a little bit of progress, but not as much as you would like to have. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I feel like, did I talk to you about crystals last time?
You did.
I feel like sit with your crystals. One, I feel to cleanse their energy. Is that something that you've been doing when you've been using them?
Yes.
So I would invite you to increase frequency.
Okay.
Because what
Okay.
it feels like is there was such a backlog of energy that they're it's just it's like having a smoky room and putting the filters to filter out that smoke. Initially you're going to have to change those filters pretty frequently, but as the air clears you'll need to clean them less and less. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
So I just feel to tell you to increase clearing the energy of your stones. And then it feels like the placement for a couple of them is slightly off. So I would just sit with once you've cleared their energy, maybe where they were initially, where you were using them initially was fine, but maybe something has shifted since then. So I would just, after clearing the energy, be present and feel the energy of the stone and then put it where you feel guided to place it. Does this make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does. Yes.
And that feels like that's going to give you a little bit more of the boost to help continue with the shift that you've been working to create. The other thing is I feel for you to connect with plants. So I don't know if you have plants in your home or plants outside your home, but to just either sit with them, have them in your home so they're present with you, or sit with them outside so that you're spending some time basically in nature, just getting the energy that they bring into us. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I don't know if you already have plants in your home, but that's something that I feel would serve you unless you're dealing with some allergies. It's just they also help with clearing energy. They help with clearing the air, and that would also help with supporting your immune system and supporting because it feels like you've been wanting to create some improvements in your physical health. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I just keep seeing green plants. Does this make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does.
The other thing is earthing, and that's where you are either while gardening, putting your hands in the earth or standing on the grass with bare feet.
Yes,
That
my
that
favorite thing to do.
grounds, that helps with was it negative ions, that kind of stuff. It's a lot of science that I don't know how to explain.
Okay.
So think plant also. You want to get fresh air, sunlight, and the being on the earth to stimulate your immune system and help you with releasing the things from your body that you're wanting to release. Okay.
Okay. That
Was
sounds
that
wonderful.
helpful?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Good.
And as you were talking about plants, I have house plants that I've tried to keep on to that were given to me. So during the winter, I bring them in, and during the spring, I bring them outside, and I've kind of neglected them this year.
You were focusing on restoring your health and that's just where you were. And so it's just
Yeah.
about moving forward.
Okay. Yes.
Awesome.
That's
Okay.
wonderful.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
calling in,
much.
Maria.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, darling. Take a deep breath. We have another caller. Are you ready? Yay. Hello, Karen from Minnesota. Welcome to Soul Wanderings. You're on air with myself and Misty.
Well, hello, AG and Misty. Thank you for the wonderful program this evening.
Thank you. Did you have a question for Misty, or would you like a general read?
I would like a general read.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Karen. How are you today?
I'm good.
Okay.
It's
So,
been very interesting.
you feel
Yeah.
do you have anxiety or depression?
Yes.
Okay. Because what I feel is there's an imbalance and an emotional imbalance, and that you are one to tell you that you're not alone, even though because you could be physically around other people, but you feel alone in this. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And you're not alone. I feel a lot of spiritual support all around you, many beings of light. And that like to very like hammer home this point, this understanding, so that if you got nothing else from me tonight, it's this: you are not alone in this. No matter how alone you have felt and how much of a struggle it has been, it is important for you to understand you haven't been and never will be alone. Do you understand this?
Okay.
I can't hear her. Can you
I'm
speak
sorry.
up just a little bit?
I know I'm on my cell phone. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We just
Can you hear
wanted
me?
to make
Can
sure.
you,
So,
can you hear me now? Oh.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
The other thing is, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, so I can only share from my personal experience in supporting myself. And one of the things that I have used is adaptogenic herbs. And you can Google adaptogenic herbs. It'll come up with many different things. The one that I use is rhodiola rosea. There's several of them, like ashwagandha, lemon balm, Siberian ginseng. And what they do is they are plants that grow under stress and develop the ability to adapt to their environment. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
And so again, I'm not a doctor, so if you're already taking any medicines, I would say talk to your doctor first, but do a little
Okay.
research. The other thing is I feel like you're inside a lot and your system needs some outside time. Does this make sense?
Yes. It's
Okay.
changed within the last 3 weeks. Unfortunately, I lost my job,
Mm.
and I feel like I'm really isolated now.
Okay.
Um,
Even if it's just going to your window and opening your window and breathing in some air and standing in front of the window for some sunlight.
Okay.
It's really important, especially when there are imbalances in and we're struggling under the experiences that we're having, that self-care is extremely important. One is I don't know if you listened to the earlier things that I was describing. As you're having your experiences, just reinforce, and I love you. It's going to be okay, and I love you. You know, I've been in situations growing up with a single mom where we were homeless, and my husband, when he was working, being laid off a couple of times, and having children and wondering how to take care of them and things like that, and then the bills are coming in. All of these experiences, they can feel like triggers and become overwhelming and paralyzing, and it become a thing of not knowing what to do and feeling stuck. And so, what I'm going to encourage you to do as you're moving forward through the experiences that you're having at the moment is to take deep breaths and to keep up that self dialogue of, it's okay and I love you.
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
have. Yeah.
Because you don't
No,
have
go
to
ahead.
have an answer or a solution to whatever the experience is. Those things will more readily come to you when you're in a place of peace. And peace can come when you have self-love. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
The more we can get you into out of fight or flight, because that's what these experiences are triggering. And what fight or flight does is it hinders our ability to rationalize and think logically. It also shuts us down because it's a survival mechanism. So by taking the deep breaths, having the encouraging self dialogue, and another thing that the breathing does is it brings you to the present moment, because right now the anxiety is over focus of the future, which is infinite possibilities, and trying to outrun the perceived danger. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So the more we bring you to the present moment, it's in the present moment that inspired ideas and solutions can come to you. And when you're in fight or flight, that's a block to those ideas. So over focus of the future, plus you feel a little empathic to me, which is where you're perceiving the emotional energy around you and becoming overwhelmed by it. So that's like when you stick a speaker next to a microphone and it goes, wah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's a feedback, emotional feedback. So I would say you can get, if you have the ability to go online, you Google breathing meditations. You can get those things for free and do breathing meditations that bring you out of fight or flight, bring you into the present moment, to bring you into homeostasis. And in that place of peace, you're going to be able to start having the ability to be patient as the solutions present themselves to you. The other thing that I use, that I teach people, is the attitude of gratitude will determine your altitude. And you're in the experience. And that's not something that you always have control over, but you do have control over your outlook and your attitude. And by managing that, you either position yourself in an ability to have the perspective to see the solutions, or you place yourself in a position where you're blind to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when I've been in my biggest struggles, I pour on the self-love and I start my day and finish my day with gratitude. Because if I had nothing else, I woke up. I'm alive. I can be grateful for that. Be grateful for your breath, the steps you take, whatever you have around you. Sometimes it's about adding perspective, because being out of work, it can be a first world problem as opposed to somebody in a third world problem where they're in the middle of a war and their homes are literally invaded and their families at risk. So it's about understanding that somebody's always going to be in a better position or a worse position. So where we are is just a position. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And
Yes.
so it's I would say if I were working with you and kind of creating here's a little regimen to support you through your experiences, breathing meditations, self-love dialogue, and gratitude. Start your day whenever something happens that I don't like. I can find something in my life to be grateful for. Focus on that instead. Because what that does is that puts me in a position that when solutions become viable, I can see them. Does that make sense?
Okay. It's attracting positive into your life. Yes, I understand that.
Yes, because energy attracts like energy. And the more we put you in positive energy, the more the positive can come into your life.
Okay. I appreciate talking with you this evening.
Okay, was that helpful?
Yes, it was. Very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And remember, the first message that she shared is that you are not alone. Don't forget that, okay?
Oh, no. There are a lot of us out there right now feeling lost.
Right.
And
but you have a lot of spiritual energy around you, as in physically, even if you were alone, energetically and
You're
spiritually,
never
you're
alone.
not. You're surrounded by many beings of light
Mhm.
who are working to support you through this experience.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Well,
Thank you for calling in, Karen.
No, thank you so much, AJ and Misty. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Well, okay. At a loss for words once again. You have an amazing ability to connect with other people, and I love being a witness to that. And I love feeling the energy in and around you as you share with others. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me the ability to do this.
Obviously, we could go on a lot longer and take more calls, and unfortunately, we're out of time to be able to do so. However, we are going to be having Misty back, as I said before, on a regular basis every 4 or 5 weeks or so. We'll see how that goes. And if you guys did want to call in or have a question, just stay connected to our social media links. That's where we'll post when Misty will be joining us once again. And in the meantime, if you're interested in a reading, she can take those over the phone, Skype, things of that nature, like she said before. And how can they do that, Misty?
My website is mistyroseshealing.com, and my email address is mistyroseshealing@gmail.com. And then they can reach out and we can schedule a session.
Awesome. I love that. We do have another question in the chat room. How did AJ and Misty first meet? Do you remember how you met me?
I was driving around and saw your store, and finally, at first I tried to look online and couldn't get it to come up. So then I went into the store, and you graciously let me speak with you and
She
read you.
graciously brought me to tears.
Yeah, you let
I
me
fell
read
apart.
you. And I understood that that's not something you just allow
Yeah.
many people to do.
It was a unique experience, definitely.
Yeah, but you're one of the people that when I very first met you, I felt that instant spark where I just knew, like,
We're soul sisters.
something. Yeah. Yeah. And I, I just feel so much that I'm the one that gets the most benefit out of it, and that AJ is just, puts up with me.
Far from putting up with you.
Yeah, but I mean, just like this opportunity right here, and I know I'm not the only one, you've created platforms through your store, through your show, where people like me have some place to go and say, I'm here and I want to help.
Mhm.
Who would love to receive? And you've created all of that so that we can. And like that's, you've supported me from the beginning. And I can't even put into words how grateful and how much I love who you are, the way you show up, and everything that you give. And I think, some days my words fail in completely describing my absolute adoration, appreciation, gratitude, and love for you. And I wish I could just like show you what I see when I look at you, because I know you don't see what I see.
Aww. You say where words fail you. This is a moment for me as well. Misty and I had an instant connection, a remembering, if you will. You don't have that with very many people in your life, I don't believe. At least I don't. And I haven't had that experience with a whole lot of people, but I instantly loved you and was familiar with you. And I always want to hug you. You guys, Misty gives the best hugs there ever are. She doesn't rush the process by any means. And I think that's what is so amazing about you is you're not afraid to love back. And where that hasn't been something in my history that is so easily given outwardly, doesn't mean that I don't feel it inwardly by any means, but
I really
it's so
feel
easy
like
to
I'm
do
a
with
unique.
you.
I feel like I get a lot of things the general public doesn't get from you. I feel I'm utterly and completely blessed.
That could be accurate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like I get a lot of permission and backstage cards with you that not a lot of people get to have. So I just cherish it all.
I am in complete gratitude that I'm able to let my guard down with you and just be me without any judgment. It's a beautiful friendship. I feel we're both very blessed.
Yeah. But I
And
still feel like I get the most out of it.
you can say that. I don't know if that's true.
I think so.
Another beautiful thing is that Misty does offer group readings, group intuitive readings at Vibes in Ogden. If you are local to the Ogden, Utah area by chance, you'll want to stay close to the event section there on our Facebook page under Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. That's where you can find her for the group readings. And if you're not local, which a lot of you are not, definitely check out her website, mistyroseshealing.com, and get in touch with her that way. I think that it would be a beautiful choice for you to make. Thank you again for being here with us.
Thank you.
So we're at the end of another show after a 2-month break, and
it's not long enough.
It's never long enough. I feel high on happiness, but before I close, I do want to take a minute to thank you all for the support I received while I was away. Daily, literally, I received messages that touched my heart and that I'm always going to cherish. It reminded me why I do what I do and why we have this show, Soul Wanderings. These experiences matter, and we really need them in our lives. And it's so important that we are coming together and talking about our experiences, our journey stories, sharing our gifts with each other. So with a tremendously happy heart, I genuinely and sincerely thank all of you. And I do want to say a big, huge thank you to Bill in New York and Eric here with me in Utah for making tonight possible so that I can come back to share all of this magic with you. And I wish you all a very beautiful night, Wanderers, sweet dreams, and bye-bye for now.